Hey, this is Josh Weidman with REI 360. Welcome to today's training. Today we're going to talk about defining your investment. Well, anytime that you're getting into real estate, whether you're just beginning, you're looking at a new area, or whatever the case may be, it's really important to define exactly what you want. It's going to set the table for marketing to go out and search for the kind of deals that you want. If you don't know what those things are, defining it, sitting down and taking a couple minutes to go through and define that ideal investment will really help you save time, save money, and ultimately spend your time and resources in the right place. So I've broken this down to 6 steps. Each step along the way kind of builds on the ones before it. And where I like to start is by determining what my exit strategy is going to be. Now, determining the exit strategy, I have 3 major exit strategies that I like to take advantage of. One is wholesaling, and I do that for cash flow. The second is to buy, fix, and flip. I call this retailing. That is for the big hits. And the third is also for cash flow, but that's rental properties. Okay? Depending on the exit strategy, it's going to depend on what price range, what geography, and these are all things that we're going to take a look at in the amount of construction. But if you don't know going in what you want to do with these properties when you get them, it's going to be very difficult to identify the properties. You're going to end up marketing to a whole bunch of different areas that are not going to meet the criteria that you're looking for, and it's a waste of time and money. Okay? So first, define our exit strategy. Next, we are going to define our geography. Really famous quote that I love is geography is destiny. It's the destiny of nations. That's why it's also true in real estate. We've all heard the saying, real estate is location, location, location. Depending on what type of exit strategy you're looking for, you're going to look at town, different areas, a city, whatever the case may be. For wholesale properties, you're going to look for the type of properties that are going to attract a buyer. That may be a flip, that may be a cash flow property, it may be a rental. There are some people that like to buy properties subject to. So, again, different areas of the city, different areas of your town are going to dictate that. If you're looking to retail a property, you're probably not going to look in neighborhoods that are predominantly rental areas. You want to appeal to owner buyers, first-time buyers, people that are looking to upgrade or downgrade, but they're looking for owner-occupied areas that are traditionally going to be, better kept and things like that. So if you're looking to buy a property, fix it up, and flip it, you're going to be looking in neighborhoods that are predominantly owner-occupied. On the other side of things, if you're looking for rental-grade investments, yeah, you'd love to buy those predominantly owner-occupied areas, but it's going to be very difficult to find a cash flow investment in those kind of neighborhoods. So you probably want to target your investments to more traditionally rental areas. Okay? So that's geography. One thing that I also look at, for me, if I'm going to flip a property, if I'm involved in a rehab, I need to be there every day. If I'm going to be there every day, I don't want to spend hours on the road going to and from my flip. I want to spend 5 or 10 minutes, stop in, take a look at what's going on, make any adjustments, get back in the car, and move on with my day. So when I'm looking at geography, I'm not just looking at the type of neighborhoods that I'm targeting. I'm also looking at their distance from my office or from my house. I traditionally will flip anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes away from my house. So that, it really becomes a little bit limiting, but that's okay. Boom, we've defined our geography. Now we know our exit strategy and geography. The next step is to define your price. Defining price. It seems pretty obvious, but if you are unrealistic and you know what, I want to make a ton of money on this thing, that I'm going to work in the higher dollar amounts. If you're just getting started, that can be a recipe for disaster. If you don't have experience dealing with the type of repairs that need to be done to sell it, that's something to consider. Likewise, if you don't have the money or aren't going to be able to get the money to buy one of those high-end investments, you might want to be looking at the smaller end of the investment range. Again, this is just another step in the definition. Step 4 is our construction. Okay. never dealt with construction except for maybe remodeling a bathroom. You hired a contractor to remodel a bathroom in your primary residence. If you have never dealt with contractors, it can be a handful. Make sure that you're not biting off more than you can chew. One of the first flips that I got involved in was a rehab for a building that had 3 walls, no roof, no floors, and everything was sitting in the basement. It was a nightmare and became a real problem because I did not have the resources, I didn't know what I was doing. And so, it became a failure. I don't want that to happen to you. You want to be able to find what you're comfortable with. If you're just getting started, maybe you're only comfortable, painting and carpeting a house. If you don't know anything about heating, or you don't know anything about the structural repair, whatever the case might be, you want to define what you're comfortable doing on a remodeling end, so that if you see a property, it seems like the greatest deal in the world, but it's outside of your comfort zone on the construction end, you can feel comfortable walking away from that deal, because a lot of times the deal that you walk away from is a much better investment than the bad deal that you bought. Okay? So we define our construction. Step number 5 is going to be our limiters, or our deal killers. I run into so many properties and so many investors that don't take the time to write these things down and think about these before. And what ends up happening is they end up seeing the deal of a lifetime, seemingly, and ignoring the problems that are right in front of their face. Well, what am I talking about? One of my eliminating factors, or limiting factors, are the number of boarded up properties on a specific block. I'm talking about rental properties here. I'm not talking about retail properties. But the number of boarded up properties on a block really is going to impact the value and the attractiveness of that property, both to if I'm wholesaling the property, to my end buyer, and to a tenant if I'm renting the property out. If they're the only house on the in the block, what are they going to live there? The people that are going to want to live there are probably not going to be the kind of people that you want to rent to. In addition, board ups and things like that, they can add to the maintenance cost of a property, because if the house next door is falling down, guess what? Your roof's going to leak. You're going to have other problems that you're not anticipating. So that's one limiting factor. Another might be drug activity in a certain area, or the crime rate. These are things that you should look up and you should be aware of. There are some neighborhoods that look fantastic during the wintertime because there's nobody selling drugs on the corner. But then, as soon as spring hits, it's a nightmare. And again, it's the type of thing that you just have to be aware of. If you say, look, there can be no active drug activity on the block, there you go. You wrote it down. You go out to see a property, there's active drug activity, the house is already eliminated. It doesn't matter if they hand you the property and hand you the deed. It's not worth the deal. Okay? Structural damage might be another one. I know for myself, if there is a fire damage on a property, I'm uncomfortable getting into the deal. Unless I can anticipate literally stripping the entire house down to nothing and rebuilding everything, including the beams and everything, it's still being within my profit percentages, I really do not want to move into it. That's just me. It's my own comfort level. Yours may be different. But structural damage is something that I try to shy away from unless I've already completed a project that is similar, or I can pull in a structural engineer that can give me some feedback on what needs to be done to fix the problem. You should be writing this stuff down when you're defining what kind of investments you want to get into. Another limiting factor or deal killer that I've seen both from my coaching clients, and I've started to pay more and more attention to, is trends in neighborhoods. I had an old investor one time explained a city like this. You have a box full of marbles, and you got all different kinds of marbles in that box. And you can shake the box up and mix them up and move them around, but at the end of the day, you have the same number of marbles, they're just in different places. His reference was the type of residents that are in a city. You have people that make a lot of money, you have people that make a little money. You have people that follow the law and own properties and are good tenants. You have people that, they don't follow the law, they break the law, they're criminals. And they don't own houses and they're off tenants, and, but a lot of times you can see these trends in neighborhoods. There are certain neighborhoods that aren't so great. But then a developer moves in and buys up a bunch of property, starts renovating there, and now investors start buying there, and the price rise, and the neighborhood gets better and better and better. Well, there's people that are being displaced from that neighborhood. They're going somewhere. Where are they being displaced to? You want to keep an eye on trends like that. So if you have people moving out of a bad area and that is trending up, man, that can be a really great indicator to buy in that area. If you have a lot of investment, a lot of regentrification, that's great. But where are those people going? If you have a pool of rental property that you bought, and when you bought them they were worth $50,000, and you have all of this bad traffic, or people moving into this area, and it's driving the price of the real estate down, you certainly don't want to buy anymore there. It might be time to get rid of those properties. So keep that in mind. You want to look at the way that the neighborhoods are trending. The sixth contributing factor, and the final one here to kind of round things out, is the type of return on investment. Return on investment, what am I talking about? And it's pretty self-explanatory. How much do you have to make from this property? It can either be a percentage, it can be a dollar amount. It's really, your return on investment is going to be a factor of all these first 5 indicators and these first 5 steps that we've gone through in the definition. If you're dealing with a price point here that caps out at $100,000, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to go in there and make 80 grand on a property. It's probably not going to happen. Likewise, if you're looking for a huge return on investment, or a small return on investment, or whatever, you want to be realistic and also aggressive in these numbers. Realistic, and just as I talked about, if you're in a $100,000 neighborhood, making $80,000 is probably not realistic. But maybe making $30,000 or $40,000, that might be pretty realistic. So you want to be aggressive, but also realistic when you're making and looking at those numbers. And if that means you have to do more deals to hit the kind of financial for, then that's what it means. But at least you have a written game plan, a defined investment strategy on the type of properties you want to buy. So there's 6 simple steps defining your real estate investing. Take advantage of this and give it a try if you don't already know what you want to buy, invest in. That's it for today's training. Thanks for joining me, and until I see you again, best of luck in your real estate investing.